Thank you. I want to talk to you about death and afterlife. My mother passed away 9 months ago. And in the first 3 months, she let me know that she was here with me. Under her favorite chair, after I moved it away, was a penny from my birth year. I would walk through my house and smell cigarette smoke without the clouds of smoke. I'd smell bacon. She came to me in dreams. So I was told by a psychic that she is with me and that I can call upon her at any time for anything. And I felt that. I felt that very strongly for the first 3 to 6 months. And not so much lately, although I still believe that she is there. But then I'm wondering, in the afterlife, if as non-physical...
There is no afterlife.
Well, as non-physical.
It's all now.
So she went back to non-physical.
No.
No? But if she chooses to have another physical life, then does she leave that presence that she had with me?
Well, these are big questions, and it's going to take a little while for us to help you get to the bottom of it. But the most significant thing that we want you to understand is that when somebody makes their transition back, they just isn't the right word, merely isn't the right word, but what they do is they reemerge into the wholeness of that which they are. So the access that you have to them is that broader perspective that you had available to you even before they reemerged back into non-physical, but you didn't think about it. It's a rare one who would walk around in their physical human body, who would say, for example, Esther was not walking around saying, I think I'm going to see if I can talk to the inner being of Jerry while Jerry was still in physical form. It just seemed more productive to talk to him. And so, but once he's no longer standing around in that frisky format that he was, now she's going to talk to him. She is talking to him from that broader format. So the operative word here is, what is your expectation? Usually when people make their transition, you're thinking about them more, and often you're missing them more, but they are on your mind more. So you are summoning a rendezvous more often. And all who reemerge into non-physical are really specifically aware of you and wanting to interact with you, but you're really squirrely in your vibrations. In other words, just like in your normal day-to-day experiences, you want things that you get in the way of all day, every day, and that's just another thing that you want that you get in the way of, you see. So we've been saying to you for a while that when you really, 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 really want something, that even though you might be sort of kind of in the way of it, if you really want it, your desire trumps everything. So strong desire will bring you some of the results that you want, even if you are vibrationally sort of in the way of it. But then as time passes, sometimes your desire or your focus is not as strong, and that's what's making you feel like there is less interest from that perspective. But there isn't. There's not less interest. People are really confused about non-physical. It's something that you like to think about sometimes and you don't want to think about most of the time. And because you don't understand it, because there are so many really crazy stories that people tell about it. Esther remembers recalling at first, when Jerry had made his transition, she didn't want to be holding him back in any way. Am I keeping you from something else that you might be doing? Forgetting that he is this multidimensional being and that she has the ability to summon to her the specifics of that which she is interested in. And also, there's another really big piece of this that people are missing relative to what it is like for you when you make your transition into non-physical. And that is that this is the leading edge of thought. And when you have been participating here on this leading edge, you are still participating here on this leading edge. You still have interest in the buildings that you helped build and the books that you helped write. You still have interest in the son that you gave birth to. You still have interest in the stories that you tell. All kinds of things are happening, not just physical things rendezvousing with you with the help of others. It's the rendezvousing of thought, the sensation of a song, the contemplation formation of a thought, the words coming across your mind. In other words, there is never, ever, ever a separation between what is physical and non-physical. And every relationship that you've ever lived is eternal. So some relationships matter to you more. Some relationships were more at the time. Some relationships you concentrate on more at the time. In other words, sometimes you're concentrating more in this day about your mother than you would about someone else that you know who has made their transition. It's all about your focus, you see. Jerry says to Esther, she writes with him nearly every day. And these days, it's not from a place of missing him and wanting him to soothe her. It's from a place of eagerness about what he's thinking about, this and that she's involved in. And what she's noticed is that she doesn't have to sit and formally invite him into her experience. She can feel him joining her with exuberance in the experiences. She can feel there's an added power and clarity and friskiness and intent and deliberateness that was not her experience before. She can feel the difference in that. But we'd like to say to all of you, you have always had access to that. You've always had access. There isn't anything that you can be focused upon on this physical planet that involves someone who has made their transition to the non-physical, that when you focus doesn't summon them back into the experience of it. But your expectation about what that co-creation means is the way it plays out in your experience, you see. It's not like Esther will sit at her desk, and quite often she's editing or working on something, working on the book. And so while she's doing it, she can feel this added clarity. And she knows the difference because she's been doing all of these things for a very long time. And she can feel that clarity that Jerry adds to it. And she sits with satisfaction in the resonance of that consciousness joining her. It's a pure and powerful consciousness. And then quite often she will turn her computer off, close the lid on it, and the light over her desk will just blink once, like, that's it. Now, at first, Esther wanted the blinking lights primarily. Blink a light, 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 blink a light. Give me evidence that you are there. Knock a book over, do something. There was plenty of that. Bumps in the night kind of things. But now, as she settled into it, it's sort of like in the beginning as she was receiving us. It was a very awkward. It was awkward. You would not want to see those early videos. It was awkward. But in time, as she relaxed into it, then there became that sort of flow. And the same thing is happening with this. You all have access to your non-physical families. And we would like you to understand in a fullness that maybe you have not found before, the interest that your non-physical families have in you, you see. Physical humans have sort of had the orientation for a while. Doesn't serve you, but it goes something like, I'm here to prove myself in some way. So you've been reluctant to accept the blending of that which is you as an extension of that which is source. Because you're either out to prove something or you're out to earn some award or be judged in some right way, and so you want to stand singularly in order to get the credit or the blame. It's a very screwy thing that you've sort of worked out for yourselves. But when you begin to understand that you are vibration and that source is vibration, when you understand that life is eternal and that this is the leading edge and that the manifestations that you are reaching for are the fuller version of the vibrational version, and that which you think of as non-physical is in on all of that, and that what we all are is consciousness, and that what consciousness is love, and that what love is feeling. And to be in physical bodies where you have the ability to translate the feeling of source into meaningful moments, that's just as good as it gets, you see. So when you feel frisky, you're aligned with that. When you feel sure, you're aligned with that. When you feel exhilaration, you're aligned with that. In other words, you are extensions of all of that. And you might as well just once and for all accept that the you that you've been calling you has never been anything close to as singular as you've wanted it to be. Because you've been establishing things that you want, and there are all kinds of non-physical consciousness that is joining you in this. But it's only when someone dear to you, like Jerry or like your mother, make your transition, that you begin to contemplate consciousness in those more specific terms. So we want to say to you the same thing on this subject as we've been saying to you about all subjects, that as you go general, you have this source that is flowing through you. And when you get specific interest from source that is flowing through you, you see. We want to find ways to make you comfortable in knowing that you have access to as much as you are willing to ask for, and you get to experience as much as you are consciously able to allow. And it takes all of you. Esther has been receiving Abraham for many, many years, and she really gets the concept of that. And yet when it came to Jerry, she couldn't throw Jerry into the Abraham pile. She wanted him to be a consciousness that was specific and separate. And we say, he's in the Abraham pile, Esther, but he is specific. And your understanding of who he is will summon those specifics in the way that is pleasing to both of you, you see. Talk about being willing to play whatever roles you are wanting to play. In other words, you have access to infinite intelligence. Do you know what that means? And most physical beings think that once somebody has lived their life and they reemerge, that then they are done. And there is nothing even remotely accurate about that. Because everything that they've set into motion, they are still interested in. And you are the hands and the minds. You are the molders of the further clay. That's what true inspiration is. Creative artists and writers, songwriters, authors, all kinds of people that you put in what you want to call the creative category have already tapped into that. They know they are receiving that consciousness that is broader. But most humans don't walk around doing that. You have the ability, when you comb your hair, to ask someone to help you. And there are those who would like to do that. You have the ability, when you drive through traffic, to ask someone for the fastest route or for the route that is the most beautiful. And there are those who have the ability to do that. You do not need to call us by name. But if you will clarify your intention, understanding that you have this unseen but not unfelt, unseen but not unknown force of non-physical nature that is flowing with you, then in time, from your personal experience, you begin to understand that we are all in this together, that you are not here apart from any of that. And then you begin to understand what the true continuity of life is. Some have thought that, well, there are a lot of us here, and most of us stay at any point in time, while new ones come and old ones go. In other words, we're sort of coming and going, but most of us are here, and that's what equals the stability of our society, because we tell each other, we give everybody a heads up. We say, this is how you do this, and this is how you do this. This is how you grow your food, and this is how you run your government, and this is how you participate in your arts, and you think it is that sort of continuity, but it is not. It is non-physical inspiration that is the continuity that is keeping everything going, you see. Most of you, are you beginning to understand the interest that non-physical has in that which is you? Yes. And are you understanding the appreciation that non-physical has for the leading edge roles that you play? And aren't you more and more eager to participate in a personal way with that non-physical energy? Wouldn't you like to be the hands in the clay of someone who has the consciousness and the intention? Wouldn't you like to be the liver out, the actor out, the experiencer of the inspiration and the knowledge and the beingness that is flowing to you from non-physical?
Yes.
Wouldn't you like to be the love of that which you call God? And wouldn't you like to be the clarity of that, those who have gone before? And wouldn't you like to stand in the place of exuberance when you discover yet a new thing to think about and a new way of expressing it? Wouldn't you like to be there as the physical conveyance of that non-physical energy? And wouldn't you like to be consciously aware of the party that non-physical is having as a revel in the new discovery that you have made? How you have come to separate yourself from the whole of who you are is just an amazing phenomenon. It is the most incredible thing that humans have done. How you have managed to, generation after generation, talk to one another in a way that separates you from the power and the love and the clarity and the fun and the eagerness and the newness of life that is available to all of us, you see. You can't pinch us off. Don't worry about it. You cannot deprive us of you. But you can deprive you of us. Nice to know.
Thank you.